I'm going to tell you a story about how I fixed my runner's knee. And for those of you who aren't familiar with runner's knee, what that is it's basically, it's in its name where runners or people who exercise quite a bit, bikers can get this too, is they feel some sort of like pain or pull in their knee. And sometimes it can be like under the kneecap or it's just kind of in that general area. And so before I tell you how I fixed my runner's knee, I need to tell you a story to help understand why I went about fixing it the way I did. So I had just come off a 100-mile race. It was the Zion 100 Ultra Marathon. It's here in Utah. And like 11,000 feet of vertical gain. Took me about 26 hours to do it. And so I took some time off after this, or at least dialed back some of my mileage. So I wasn't like in training mode. But it was really important I recovered as fast as possible because I had a marathon that following October. So this race was in April. In October, I have a marathon I'm training for. And so I'm off on a recovery jog a couple weeks later. I'm on this trail, and I run into my running coach. And so I stopped to walk with him for a little bit because he's with a friend as well. And we're chatting, and he's asking me how I'm doing. And at this point, I felt amazing, except for one thing was off. And that was in my left knee. I was feeling a pain or pulling sensation under my kneecap. And so as we're walking, we're talking about this, and I'm frustrated because everything feels great. I'm sleeping well, I'm no longer sore, but it's just this one spot that I have a problem with. And so I told my running coach that I had just ordered a knee brace, and he told me that was a mistake. And I was like, what do you mean? I heard this is what you need to do when you have runner's knee. And he started to tell me about one of the big issues runners have is what can happen is when they are trying to fix an injury, they will either compensate with a brace, so they fix things with the brace, but that doesn't develop the muscles or fix the root cause of the issue. Or what they'll do is take time off, and then they never address what was really causing that injury, so when they get back into running, they get the same type of injury. And I had been noticing this, that if I dialed back my mileage while trying to fix this running knee issue, it wouldn't be fixed when I came back. And so he told me the brace was a mistake and that I had to address the root cause of it. And so his opinion, and which is now my opinion, is that there's generally two things that cause injury when it's not like an overuse injury. So there absolutely is a real thing where you've overdone it, you've overtrained. But when you're taking time off or you're not running as much as you normally do, but you're still having an issue, there's two main causes, in my opinion, that can happen that cause some of these injuries, which in my opinion isn't really an injury. It's just you haven't addressed the root problem. So two of these things are either flexibility and mobility or strength. And this is something I've come to find true as I've dealt with injuries as a runner. And so after this conversation with my running coach, I run back to my car, finish my run. I go home and I order one thing to help me with this issue, and I had a second thing at home that I was going to work on. So this is what I did. There were two main things that helped me overcome this runner's knee issue, and I didn't even take any time off and was able to get into marathon training. So the first thing I did was I started foam rolling like mad. So 10 minutes every night I would foam roll, and the main place I focused on was the IT band. So the IT band is on the outside of the thigh. It's pretty painful when you start foam rolling it. But what I realized is my IT band was so tight from the training in the 100-mile race I did that it was pulling on my knee. And so, of course, I had this pain, right? It only makes sense if your muscles or tendons are super tight. It's going to pull something out of place, right? Or at least make it feel like it's coming out of place. So I started doing that every day. And then the second thing I did, and this is what I ordered on Amazon, was I got a 2.5 pound plate. So I think I got two of these for like $15. It really wasn't that big of a deal. And what I started doing was strengthening my tibialis, or kind of the shin muscle. So I don't know where this really came from, but I thought it was something I could work on, was developing strength in the muscles I'm using. And so what I would do, as you can see, there's a hole right here. And so I would take my big toe. It's kind of funny, and I would just stick it through. And what I would do is I would just curl it, as if, like with my ankle, as if it's, a bicep curl. But it's hooked around my big toe, and I would curl it up and down. So you can sit on a chair and do this, or you can, lay your leg across a, box or something like that, hang your ankle off the edge. And so what I would do is I would do 3 sets of 50. So it was maybe I was overdoing it, but to me it felt like it was a good burn and that I was getting a lot of strength in this front area. And what I found is as I strengthened the front of my leg and this tibialis muscle, the knee pain started to go away. So it was two faceted, where one, I was working on my flexibility and mobility, and then I was also working on strengthening the areas that were supporting my knee. And it was pretty crazy because in about a week's time, my runner's knee was completely gone. Like, I didn't have to do the curls with this 2.5 pound plate for very long. And then I just made foam rolling and stretching essential. So this is what I did to fix my runner's knee. And I think it's really important we start to look at injuries as not we're overtraining, because our bodies can do amazing things. I've done a lot of crazy events like 10 marathons in 10 days, a couple 100-mile races, some multi-day stage races, and I'm currently injury-free, and I've been injury-free for many months now. And I think the big thing that's helped me stay injury-free from shin splints or runner's knee or whatever it is working on my flexibility and mobility, and also strengthening the muscles that support the areas that are common injuries. So I hope this helps you. It's super cheap to get a 2.5 pound plate and a foam roller, and I think it pays dividends when it comes to running. So I hope to see you on the trail sometime soon.